I was 16 when the war started, so I did a secretarial course, and then I worked for a branch of the War Office in just outside Oxford. It was MI5. It sounds rather glamorous and romantic, and it was incredibly boring.
And they said in the Manchester Evening News that they wanted girls to go to learn how to be working on the barges on the Leeds and Liverpool Canal. Oh, that's right for me, that's just the job.
Splashed across the evening news, idle boats in need of crews. So young girls, greenhorns, applied and went off for interviews.
My mum and dad weren't a bit pleased about it, going on a barge, but still that was some fair yam.
Secretaries, hairdressers, artists, ballet dancers, moneylenders, service dodgers left their jobs, left their mothers, left their dads and older brothers fighting in the war. Young girls scrounged from their brothers' sailors' jerseys, cricketing whites, shirts and trousers, bib and brace. Stocked up on tins of milk and cocoa, porridge, butter, treacle, coffee.
And quantities of tea.
Hammered curtains over portholes, nailed old masters to cabin walls.
I'd crossed a line and come out of a world, a sort of conventional middle-class world, into a completely new world I would never otherwise have known at all.
I could splice, I could tie knots, I could do all sorts of things. Ready to handle lockgate and coal, windlass and tiller, pound their muscles, ready to push, ready to pull, ready to jump, ready to steer, motor or butty boat, run on the top planks, grip the handrail, perch on the gunwale, lift the paddles, drop the paddles, bash their bodies, boat till they dropped. Beds like cupboards, pee in a bucket, fill it and chuck it into the cut, jumping in when the weather's hot, never mind the contents of buckets. Or winter roasting from waist to toe, one hand on the tiller, one hand on a spoon, bending down to stir the stew, aroma rising to roughened red noses. Hours and hours of staring ahead, moving a hand from side to side. Then ropes, rubbing grooves across their shoulders, towing the butty between the locks. Blisters, bruises, broken nails, cuts and calluses, trousers held up with safety pins, never the time to sew or mend. Layers of jerseys staying together, one in another for days or weeks. Aching legs from lying on cushions on top of the engine room, walking feet on the side of a tunnel, singing songs, reminders of home.
On board Christian, so we got through. When we got through to the end, this man was standing there with his dog. He said, I wondered what the dickens, he said, it was. He said, what are you two wenches, he said, doing? Why didn't you put your engine on? I'm not putting the engine on. I said, because I said of the fumes. I said, he said, where's the men? I said, what men? I said, I wouldn't trust a man. I said, to have brought us through that tunnel.
Learning the skill of entering locks, swinging the motorboat across, watching the butty boat sliding in, neat as any jigsaw piece. Cargoes of steel or aluminium, peanuts from Liverpool, wool, sugar, cotton, shoddy, coal from Coventry, standing in black as it's pouring in, shovelling it, shifting it, coated in dust, breathing it, finding bits in your boots, grime on pillows, grit in the kettle. Slack to Worcester, spam to Nottingham, grain to the Mersey, flour to Tipton, copper to Birmingham, sauce to Wigan. Nobody wanted cement, which clogged the eyes, lungs, hair, and must be kept dry. A difficult job when bilge pumps were clogged up with coal. Cardboard trip cards, battered and muddy, frayed at corners. An air of negligence, forgetting what it was like to dance. Luxurious trips to the public baths, 6pence paid for soap and a soak, or 9pence for the biggest and best. The office lavatory was such a treat. Young girls crossed a boundary, entered a world of boaters and bargemen, stevedores, dockers and warehouse men, larking about and telling jokes. Every night going back to their houses, back to their wives, talking of gypsies. Didn't get on with the silent, reticent, working families on the move, babies chained to chimney stacks. For some, the work it never stopped, incessant, continuing through the night, through the blackout, headlights shaded, wore a distant noise in their ears. Doodlebugs, aiming for the docks, looked so pretty, like fireworks, with flames coming out of their tails, and you'd listen. engine like a lawnmower, and when it stopped, you held your breath, because when it stopped, it dropped. A bomb on the basin would sink the lot, so load up quickly and hurry away. Don't stop to sheet up. Tarpaulins can wait till we're outside and safe. I could splice, I could tie knots, I could do all sorts of things. After a life of letters waiting at toll office, library books borrowed and left at the post office, rain leaking in and soaking bedding, feet vibrating to throb of the engine, washing their smalls in the cut. When the war ended, idle women were no longer needed, and idle boats were handed over, spotless and beautiful, engines perfect, brasses polished, cleaner than ever they'd been before.
I could splice, I could tie knots, and I could do all sorts of things.